What do the Florida Gators need to do in order to upset the LSU Tigers tomorrow in Gainesville?
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Friday. I am Brandon Olson. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And the Florida Gators take on the LSU Tigers tomorrow in Gainesville. We'll talk about DJ Lagway a little bit later. If the Gators want to win, they need to limit explosives in this one. You look, and by explosives, I know that there's places that quantify it differently. Some places quantify it as gains of 15 plus. Some places quantify it as 20 yards plus allowed. Some quantify it as if a play allows a certain amount of EPA, depending on expected points added, depending on if it's a pass or a run. Those are all different. I'm just saying big plays. Can we leave it at that? Do we have to put a specific measure? If you want to, I'd prefer using gains of 15 on the run, 20 throwing the ball. But LSU has one of the most explosive passing attacks in the country. Garrett Nussmeier, who, of course, spent some time in Gainesville when he was a little bit younger. His dad, offensive coordinator for the Florida Gators about a decade ago. Garrett Nussmeier is one of the most explosive passers. He's looking for a big play. LSU has a really talented wide receiver corps, like they always do. And they look for the big plays as a unit, right? And that's something that they've always done. Obviously, last year they were way more effective with it with Jaden Daniels because of his rushing ability and deep play passing ability. But Garrett Nussmeier is a big play passer, which, by the way, also does lead to turnovers. He has struggled with turnovers in recent weeks. Hopefully the Florida Gators defense can cause some of those, but those usually stem from big plays as well, or looking for a big play at least. Florida's defense in multiple games has given up big plays. They've given up explosives. You look at the Miami game, which I know this is a different defense from then, but they gave up, I believe it was 11 or 12 big plays in that one game. And then you look at last week against Texas, and they gave up 10 plays of 20 yards or more. That stuff can't happen again. Okay, and I will also say this. I understand why those explosive plays have piled up specifically last week. And even the second half of Georgia, when Georgia started kind of pulling away and taking momentum, a lot of it was with big plays. You look at the reverse that Sharif Denson got injured on, big play on a reverse. They had the passing play on 3rd and 7, I think it was, where Cormani got beat in coverage, and then the receiver kind of shook him a little bit after that. Explosive play there. And I think that the big turning point for the explosive plays was when all the injuries piled up. That drive where Georgia ran their reverse that Sharif Denson got hurt on, if I'm not mistaken, it was the same drive that Jordan Castell got hurt on, that Dijon Johnson got hurt on, that you already didn't have Jason Marshall Jr. on, that you already didn't have Devin Moore on, that you've had Jakeem Jackson's been out since week 2. Injuries have piled up, okay? And I recognize the next man up mentality. I respect the next man up mentality. However, I do think that when you say next man up, you can't realistically mean next man up with no expectation of a drop off. That's just not realistic. You can say mentality wise, you should be able to say, hey, this backup can go out there and do it, but they're a backup for a reason. And the reason that they're a backup is because you start the guys that give you the best chance of winning. And they are not that. there's going to be a drop-off in talent, especially when you talk about dropping to corner 4 and corner 5. Like when you get that low, there's going to be a significant drop-off. Jason Marshall was playing really good football this year. There were not many explosive plays to whatever side he was on. However, now that injuries have piled up, you're now looking at Cormani McClain, who is out there. And I've said before, like, I don't think Cormani's great right now. I think he shows flashes of greatness. That's something that he always showed dating back to high school. That's something that he showed at Colorado. He's not great yet. He can be great. He just needs to work to get there. But I don't get mad when he gives up a big play because my expectation for him was to not play this year. Like he wasn't supposed to be in the rotation, in my opinion. So him playing, I don't get mad at. Triquez Bridges being out there, I don't get mad at. However, as injuries have piled up, explosives have piled up. You look at last week against Texas. Texas started getting really creative with their play calling and creating explosive plays, and that's obvious for why it would work for two reasons. One, there's a lack of experience. A lot of the depth players for the Florida Gators are young players. There's a lack of experience. They haven't been on the field when watching a reverse and then a handoff to the running back, or a reverse fake and then a fake handoff to the running back and then an actual reverse. They haven't seen all of these things. There's going to be miscues and mistakes and missteps. That's not a surprising thing. There will be errors, especially when you're playing young football players, especially when you're playing young defenders and they've got to try to track everything going on and the game's really fast. So I'm not faulting the players too much. I don't think it's realistic to fault them so much. I am saying, though, that that's one reason. Experience there. You're inexperienced. You're not used to seeing these things. But then again, the only way to get experience is by getting experience. And so you've got to be out there. It's also chemistry and communication. I'm going to bunch those two together, chemistry and communication, because sometimes guys know just how to play off of one another. Right? If I'm a corner that lines up on the right side almost always, and there's a safety that lines up on the right side almost always, we might have some times where we don't need to communicate that much. We might just know things at this point. We've played enough, right? When you've got the young guys in, not only do they not have experience, but they've been practicing with other players. If I'm Cormani McClain and I've been practicing with Gregory Smith a lot, and we've got that chemistry on that side of the field, and then now I step onto the field and I'm practicing and playing next to Bryce Thornton or Jordan Castell, I'm not used to that. I'm not going to be as effective there. And I do think that when you go back and you watch the second half of Georgia, and when you go back and you watch the second half of Texas, you see a team that does not have much chemistry together, does not have much experience together, and does not know how to play together as a unit. Because when you look at those games, a lot of it is half of the starters and half of the second or third team out there. And this isn't me saying, oh, injuries piled up and that's the excuse. This is me saying that injuries piled up and that causes chemistry issues. That causes experience issues. I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm explaining that's what happens. That's the big drop-off. It's not just, oh, Jason Marshall's better than Cormani McClain, or Jason Marshall's better than Jameer Grimsley or Teddy Foster. I'm not trying to pick on Cormani. But it's not saying that it's strictly that. He is better than them, but that's not the only thing. It's that their synchronicity. Is that it? When they're in sync, working together, that they don't have that. And that's another reason that they might not be working well. Or if certain safeties are out there, not talking about a specific player, I'm just saying in my experience, certain safeties are out there, they're worse communicators than others. Linebackers as well, worse communicators than others. And that piles up. And so this week, you've really got to hammer home, these are the guys that we have out there. These are the guys that need to be aware of what their responsibilities are in all situations. Because if I'm any coaching staff that is playing against the Florida Gators this year for the remainder of the season, whether it's LSU, Ole Miss, or Florida State, I am looking at the second half of Georgia, and I'm looking at the entirety of the Texas game, and I'm saying we need to get as misdirection-y as possible, because this defense will make mistakes if we do that. You look at Texas. Texas wasn't doing all this crazy crap and then throwing bombs. They were doing all this crazy crap, getting people out of position completely, and then throwing a screen and just having room to run. You need to limit explosives, and communication needs to pick up. And that's a thing that I do think coaching can fix within a week. I do think you can fix communication within a week. You tell the safeties that are out there, hey, you need to be more vocal. You've got young corners out here. You've got a young slot. You've got a young safety next to you. You need to be more vocal and communicate better what responsibilities are. And young guys, study the playbook. Because if they're communicating a change, you need to be able to function in this entire playbook. And so I do think that's something that you can do within a week, and that's something that Florida needs to do. LSU's probably going to put up some points. They're a pretty good offense, but you need to make sure that they're not putting up those points on just bomb play, bomb play, bomb play. You need to make them earn these points, earn these yards, earn everything. Speaking of earning it, Florida Gators offense needs to go out there and earn it. We'll talk about that next on Locked On Gators. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. That's COLLEGE. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience. And the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at OMAHA steaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. Minimum purchases may apply. And I don't know if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that I am wearing a Florida Gator shirt, and it is by homefieldapparel.com. I've said it a million times. My favorite apparel company. I don't even care if we get another sponsor. Home Field's still my favorite. I love Home Field apparel. I love that it's finally getting cooler. I could wear this baseball tee. I like baseball tees. I don't know why. I just do. It's got my favorite logo, the Pell logo. I love it. And I love Home Field apparel. And they are, again, the most comfortable shirts. Their sweatpants are the most. I would show you the sweatpants, but I'm not about to put that on camera for anybody. You can go to homefieldapparel.com, and it's not just Florida Gators gear. They've got tons of colleges. So if you're a fan of another program in the SEC, or not even in the SEC, if you're a fan of Pepperdine or an alumni, you can go get some gear there at homefieldapparel.com. Use code GATOR24 to save 15% off with homefieldapparel.com. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. And we learned last night that DJ Lagway will return for the Florida Gators tomorrow against the LSU Tigers. However, regardless of his status, you still need to keep this game manageable for the Florida Gators offense. I mentioned yesterday on Crossover Thursday that I thought it would be a game time decision with DJ Lagway, and that even if he is healthy, he's not going to be 100%, or even if he is playing, he's not going to be healthy, quote unquote. That still remains. DJ Lagway 2 weeks ago was carted off the field, does have a hamstring injury that he's going to play through, or at least as he's recovered, as he currently is going to play through. He's not going to be 100% for a while, I believe. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but I have had hamstring injuries before, and I have seen many athletes with hamstring injuries. They tend to linger. So when I look at what this offense will look like with DJ Lagway at the helm, and he is expected to start, and I'm assuming play all the snaps that he possibly can, I look at this offense needs to stay on target and stay manageable. The Florida Gators have one of the best early down success rates in college football, but one of the worst late down success rates. LSU is one of the worst late down defenses in the country right now. So when I look at what this offense will look like with a healthy-ish DJ Lagway, an available DJ Lagway, we'll say, I think that the passing attack is significantly better than you have with Aiden Warner. I do think that, no, I mean, knowing him, he just seems like one of those crazy competitors. And I do think that he'll probably try to take off a couple times at some point if he sees space. But I don't want him running too much. I'm not looking for him to use his legs too frequently. You've got a good stable of running backs, regardless of who's healthy, who's there. All of the running backs that play for the Florida Gators, I think, are pretty dang good. At least, again, that's my opinion of them. So when I look at DJ Lagway starting and the stable of running backs you have, I expect one, more shotgun offense, but still running the football. And two, when you're throwing the football, quick game or a deep shot. I don't think that you're setting up this offense for DJ to sit and go through progressions for too long and then maybe get sacked, maybe have to run. That's not what you're trying to do, right? You want to run the football, move the sticks, which again, I don't think that LSU's run defense is very impressive. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that the Gators offensive line should struggle too much with creating space for their running backs. And I do think that when you look at this offense, like I said, early down success rate, really good. Just picking up a few yards to make things manageable, keep things on schedule. You need to just run the football a bit. You can have your deep shots if you want there. I think that if you 3rd and 4, that's what I'll say. 3rd and 4. That's what I've decided just now while recording. 3rd and 4 is the mark that I'm looking for. Florida right now, by the way, on average gets put into 3rd and 7. That's not a good spot to be in if you are Florida. Obviously, it's a rough spot to kind of look at things and say, all right, well, we've got to get 7 yards with an inconsistent passing attack. This passing attack is explosive, and DJ Lagway really helps you there. I mean, Florida right now, I don't know if people notice it, but 75th percentile in explosive pass play. Almost 11% of their passes are explosive passing plays. They throw bombs, right? The issue is that when they're not doing that, they're incredibly inconsistent. Keep things in 3rd and 4, or keep things to 3rd and 4, and then I think you can look at your offense and you can say, okay, we can either run the football, and as long as we get to 4th and 2 or shorter, we're going to go for it on 4th down. Or you could say, hey, 3rd and 4, we're going to take a shot, and then we'll either punt or run, depending on where we are in the field and what the score is and how much time's left, depending on the situation itself. But 3rd and 4 is, I think, the number that you have to keep yourself in if you're the Florida Gators. Because the reason that you have such a low success rate on 3rd or 4th down, it's late down success. So the reason you have such a low success rate on late downs is simply because you tend to put yourself into bad situations. You tend to go, oh, well, we're throwing, like with the Texas game last week. They'd go PA shot on first down, and then you're into 2nd and 10. And even if you gain a few yards, it's really tough to convert at that point. Just, again, statistics tell you if you get into 2nd and 10, the likelihood of you punting following that or not scoring a touchdown following that increase significantly. Stay out of 2nd and 10, get to 3rd and 4. And I think that we're looking at an offense that can be aggressive but smart. Again, if you want to run the ball on 3rd and 4, pick up a couple yards, get closer to a 1st down, go for it, whatever it may be, you can do that. You can be aggressive and smart here. And that's what you can do, especially with DJ Lagway. I'm curious to know what it's going to look like if you're going to see RPO and just hope that he just uses his arm really quickly to get a ball to the flat or get a ball on a slant, whatever it may be. But I don't think that you can go into this game saying, hey, we're going to go play action out of pistol. I don't think that's the right strategy or the right approach. Having a guy with a hamstring injury, again, he's playing. That does not mean he's fully healthy at all, and I would be stunned if he was. But a guy with a hamstring injury should not be coming out in pistol, turning around for the play action fake, and then needing to turn around again. It's just really tough, and it's things like that that make things difficult, which is why I expect shotgun. I do think that shotgun helps you more when you're talking about RPOs and just the option, which you won't see much of with DJ Lagway this week. But I do think that shotgun helps you more. Shotgun's the way to go out of this offense for at least this week. I'm not saying you have to stick to that forever or live in that, but it helps you a lot. And then it also helps you when you're throwing the football just straight up, whether it's a play action pass or just drop back passing. It helps to be working out of the gun and have a little bit more time and a little bit more distance, especially when we can assume, hey, DJ Lagway not going to be as good at escaping pressure as he usually is. DJ Lagway not going to be as good at picking up first downs or any yards with his legs as he usually is. This is about putting the offense in position to succeed. DJ Lagway puts you in position to succeed. Absolutely. He keeps your offense from being too one-dimensional, but play calling needs to put these guys in a position to succeed as well. And DJ Lagway gives you the best chance. He gives you the most versatility, even when he's injured. Like an injured DJ Lagway is better than what you would get with Aiden Warner, okay? And again, even until, I don't know. I'm looking at this and I say, we talked about it yesterday with Matt Moscona. LSU's run defense has taken significant hits when they face a mobile quarterback. If I'm LSU, anytime DJ Lagway looks like he's running a read, I'm going after the running back and daring DJ to run. And I'm going to see if he's willing to do it. And if he's not willing to do it, we're going to pin our ears back at the running back. So I would watch that. If they run an option, I'm very interested to see if LSU essentially goes, go ahead, DJ, run. We want to see how your leg looks. I don't think he'll be sliding much, probably diving forward more so than anything else. But with LSU's run defense, you should be able to pick up some pretty consistent yardage on the ground. Get yourself into third and manageable. That's the key for me here offensively. That's the only key I have for you offensively. Keep things manageable, and you can win this game. I feel way better. Like I said yesterday on the crossover, I was like, look, I don't know if DJ's playing. I think it's going to be a legit game time decision. That's what I said yesterday. And I said, if that's the case, I think that LSU covers this handedly. Having DJ Lagway makes you so much more likely to be able to pull off this upset. It makes it so much more likely that you're even capable of pulling off this upset. So for the Florida Gators to have DJ Lagway back is huge. He makes those 3rd and 4s that much better. With Aiden Warner or with DJ Lagway, I would say 3rd and 4 is the number. You can either run the ball and get into 4th and short or convert right there. Go for it on 4th. With Lagway, now 3rd and 4, you have an entire playbook right at your disposal. DJ Lagway makes you considerably better, makes you significantly better, and gives you so much better of a chance to win this football game. DJ Lagway's here. That's great. We'll talk about the defense when we get back next on Locked On Gators. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. If you missed Thursday Night Football last night, don't worry about it. You can go right back this Sunday. Got a full slate of NFL games, and you can go make yourself some money. Also, personally, NBA easily the most profitable sport for me. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. To wrap up today's episode of Locked On Gators, we got the unfortunate news on Wednesday night that Pop Howard would not be playing this week. Ruled out early already, didn't play much last week, and when he did play last week, did not look good. It was, like I've said, his worst game as a Florida Gator. Looked like he was lost at times, wasn't recovering quick enough, and then we found out now, thanks to GB Plus, that Pop injured his ankle against Georgia and tried to play against Texas. That obviously didn't go as planned, or that didn't go as well as it could have gone. And now he's been ruled out this week already. So you will not have Pop Howard against the LSU Tigers. And that opens the door, I think, for LSU's run game, which has not been good, to find some consistency and to find some success. And I will also say this, LSU does not run the ball frequently. We've talked about this yesterday with Matt Moscona of Locked On LSU, that LSU has one of the most pass-happy offenses in college football right now. And I think that even if you go back to last year, they were one of the most pass-happy offenses in college football. It's just that Jaden Daniels, when you had more RPO opportunities and more quarterback run opportunities, opened up. But now that Jaden Daniels is gone and it's Garrett Nussmeier, they've kind of replaced a lot of those with just, we're going to throw the football. It's not, oh, yeah, we're going to, focus more on the running. Nope. The quarterback runs are now passing plays straight up. And of course, last year also LSU ran the ball a lot because it was quote unquote runs on scrambles. This year, they're again just straight up throwing the football. But they do still run the ball enough where you say, hey, don't give them an opportunity to run. They want to run the ball. I think they want to run the ball more than they do. But their run game has not been successful this year. Without Pup Howard, that now opens the door for LSU to all of a sudden find a successful run game. I don't think that Florida's run defense has been nearly as good as it should be. I think that there are some defensive players that play really good run defense, but I think as a unit, it hasn't been awesome. I think you look at a Jack Pyburn and you say, yeah, he's one hell of a run defender. He is, because he is. I'm not arguing that at all. I think that Pyburn has been very good this year in terms of defending the run. I don't think he's been very good at rushing the passer. I know he hasn't been very good at rushing the passer, but when it comes to defending the run, Jack Pyburn, maybe your best defensive front player, we'll say, and by front I mean the first four. I think Cam Jackson has been decent defending the run, but more so just occupying blockers, and the linebacker play behind him has been better, and that opens things up. Because again, last year, one of the big issues with Florida's run defense wasn't so much the defensive line. It was that the defensive line would occupy blocks and not shed, but that linebackers behind them were not coming down. Because when you have a defensive line where they say, hey, we're pretty comfortable just occupying blocks, you don't need to make the play itself, just occupy blockers and let linebackers come up and make plays. If you're going to take that approach, you need linebackers that are going to come up and make plays. And last year, the Florida Gators did not have that. This year, Pup Howard has been a massive part of being able to pretty consistently, I guess we'll say, defend the run. I don't want to say stop it, because again, I don't think that this defense has been great at stopping the run, but they've been better than last year. They've got Pyburn, does a great job of, he's the one guy on the defensive front where you say he blows up run plays, because he does. He's a psycho. That's it. That he is a lunatic, and I think every defense needs a Jack Pyburn. But without Pup was the other guy that you can kind of look at and say, oh, he's kind of a lunatic. He's going to be really aggressive, and defending the run's what he loves to do. I think Pup's an all-around really good linebacker, but defending the run is where I think he separates himself from the pack, and you don't have that available now. And that sucks, because it's not just, oh, you don't have Pup. It's that you have people behind him who might not be as good as defending the run, or might not be good in general at defending the run. You need to look for a guy like Cam Jackson to step up. You need to look for a guy like Mekhi Boyroe to step up. Like, the interior guys are going to need to step up without Pup. I hate how many up sounds I'm making, but it's true. Your defensive line needs to step up, and your linebackers need to not screw up here, which does also go into account when you have Miles Graham playing more snaps than we've seen him play. When you have Aaron Giles playing more snaps than you've seen him play. When you might have Derek Wingo or RJ Moten out there more than they've usually been out there. You need to have a defense that can stop LSU whenever they try to run the ball, try to make them one-dimensional. And again, I mean that one-dimensional is pretty explosive, right? But you can still limit that offense to being one-dimensional, and it's a hell of a lot easier to play defense when you kind of know what they're going to do. When you're not too busy keying in on anything. When it's just like, hey, we're expecting to pass, we're going to drop back into coverage here. And Florida's run defense has struggled in recent weeks I know Georgia wasn't consistently ripping things on the ground early, but once injuries piled up, they started running wide more and finding success. I don't care if they were doing it with receivers because they ran like 4 reverses. They were doing it with receivers because they were just trying to get wide and run at you. It's what teams do. If they think, hey, we've got an angle out wide, we're going to run out wide. Wouldn't shock me if LSU tried to do that too. But you've got to have your run defense without Pop Howard, without your best run defending linebacker. You need to have your run defense ready to go. And maybe Florida supplements it by blitzing a little bit more. Maybe they try to think of either, hey, we're going to blitz and either get into the backfield or get closer to getting into the backfield against the run, or we're going to be able to generate some pressure on Garrett Nussmeier, which might be a good approach, right? Say, hey, we're going to speed up everything. We've got communication issues. We've got experience issues. We can limit that a little bit, maybe. And this is not me saying I think they should do this. It's saying maybe they do this. Saying, hey, we've got experience issues on the back end right now. We've got communications in the back end right now. The longer they are in coverage, the more likely it is that there's a busted coverage somewhere. So let's speed up Garrett Nussmeier's timing. Let's speed up everything. Let's blitz. And if they run the football, we're going to be there to stop it. And if they throw the football, we're going to be in the backfield to pressure Garrett Nussmeier and try to force him a mistake, an error anyway. Maybe that's the approach, but defending the run without Pop, like you can't let this LSU run game get going, because if the LSU run game is working, then their passing game is going to be vicious after you. Can't let that happen if you're the Florida Gators. Can't let that happen if you're Billy Napier. Just can't. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, wherever it's in the podcast and on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow immediately following the LSU game. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olson. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI, and I'll see you all next time.